Okay, this is the first part of the final review for U.S. history. We're going to just start at the top and start going through each one of these, highlighting them so you know basically uh, what you need to study. So, farmers in the 1920s, um, what you need to know is they experienced an early depression. So, farmers in the 1920s experienced an early depression. Use of credit in the 1920s. Um, the use of credit helped hide the economic problems. The use of credit in the 1920s helped hide the economic problems. The use of credit in the 1920s helped hide the economic problems. Black Tuesday was when 16 million shares were sold on the stock market. Black Tuesday, 16 million shares were sold on the stock market, causing it to crash. Urban unemployment. What you need to know about urban unemployment is at the beginning of the Great Depression, it increased dramatically. At the beginning of the Great Depression, it increased dramatically. Now, African Americans and unemployment in the 1920s, unemployment rate for African American was doubled. Unemployment rate for African Americans was doubled. Capitalism. Some Americans blame capitalism. Dust Bowl. Importance here on the Dust Bowl is where people were migrating to. So in the Dust Bowl, we have people moving to cities to find work. Dust Bowl, people moving to cities to find work. The Dust Bowl, people moving to cities to find work. All right, the bonus army. What you need to know about the bonus army is kind of long, so get ready. Um, Federal troops, tear gas, marched with bayonets. Many veterans were injured. Federal troops tear gassed, marched with bayonets. Many veterans were injured. Emergency banking bill. Emergency banking bill was passed the day after FDR's inauguration. Emergency banking bill was passed the day after FDR's inauguration. The New Deal goals. This one's really simple. Relief, recovery, reform. The three R's. Relief, recovery, reform. Social Security Act. Introduced by FDR to help retirees. Social Security Act, introduced by FDR to help retirees. Eleanor Roosevelt and minorities sat with black delegates at a conference to show her support. Eleanor Roosevelt sat with black delegates at a conference to show her support. National parks. 12 million acres were set aside for national parks. 12 million acres were set aside for national parks. Terms of Roosevelt. Roosevelt served 4 terms. 4 presidential terms under Roosevelt. Movie theaters. Americans escaped their concerns by going to movie theaters. Americans escaped their concerns or problems by going to movie theaters. The CCC. Primary goal to create jobs for young men. Primary goal was to create jobs for young men. Appeasement policy. Encouraged more German aggression. Appeasement policy. Encouraged more German aggression. Neutrality Act of 1939. Allowed other nations to buy arms if they paid cash and transported materials. Allowed other nations to buy arms if they paid cash and transported the materials themselves. Embargo on Japan. Naval and aviation supplies intended to stop expansion. Naval and aviation supplies intended to stop expansion. Nazi Party. Political party rose to power in Germany in the 1930s. Political party that rose to power in Germany during the 1930s. Mussolini's power in Italy was maintained by outlawing political parties. Mussolini's power in Italy was maintained by outlawing political parties. Winners in 1940. Winners in 1940. At the end of 1940, Germany and Italy were winning the war. At the end of 1940, Germany and Italy were winning the war. Mein Kampf. Hitler's book blamed problems on the Jews and the threat they caused to Germany. Mein Kampf. Hitler's book that blamed the Jews and the great threat that they caused to Germany. Europe First Strategy. Europe First Strategy. Only Germany was considered a serious long-term threat. Europe First Strategy. Only Germany was considered a long-term threat. Atomic bomb. Decided to use by Truman. Chief priority in using it was to save American lives. Atomic bomb. Decided to use by Truman. Chief priority to use was to save American lives. Okay, so Nazi ideology. The Nazi ideology considered Aryans superior to other people. Nazi ideology considered Aryans superior to other people. Battle of Stalingrad. Battle of Stalingrad ended Hitler's plans to dominate Europe. Ended Hitler's plans to dominate Europe. Battle of the Bulge. Germany used its reserves and demoralized its troops. Germany used its reserves and demoralized its troops. Largest death camp. Largest death camp is Auschwitz. Largest death camp is Auschwitz. Results of World War II. Soviet Union and the United States were the strongest nations. Soviet Union and the United States were the strongest nations. Zoot Suit riots. Violence in Los Angeles against Mexican Americans. Violence in Los Angeles against Mexican Americans. Women in World War II. More women were able to find jobs in manufacturing and other fields not traditionally for women. Women were able to find jobs in manufacturing and other jobs not traditionally women. Okay, and that is column 1 of the final review.